Hi, this is Jasper, and I am going to review an Airbnb listing in this video. So I get a lot of emails from people in my community. People who've either read my book, listened to my podcast, or found me through my blog. And so I usually just respond to the emails because people always ask for advice. Usually the questions are like, hey, how can I get more bookings? How can I get better results? Can you take a look at my listing? And so I thought it would be a fun idea to record a video in which I go through somebody's listing and point out some improvements. So let's go to the email that Jamie actually wrote, so that we get a bit of an idea of what exactly his questions are and what he's looking to achieve. So I posted my cabin on Airbnb. I lowered the rate after learning similar houses in my neighborhood are around $100 to $120 a night, plus $15 for each guest past 2. My prices are down from what my market research originally suggested at $199, then to $150. He's asking, is the description too lengthy? Can you suggest a better way to represent cabin front? He says he's going to add large window boxes to the top deck, and he's going to take new pictures. He says, we're too remote to get professional pictures done for your Airbnb. I can take professional pictures myself. He wants to post his listing on Flipkey for more exposure, and he also mentions that he's invested a lot of money into the house, and he doesn't want to spend any more money, basically. And so he's got 61 views since posting his listing last Friday, and he hasn't gotten any inquiries or reservations. All right, so Jamie is somebody who just started out with Airbnb hosting, and obviously he would like to get some bookings. So he's had 60 reviews. No one's made any inquiries yet. So I'm going to take a look at this listing and see what he can improve. So first of all, let's look at his location so that we have a bit of an idea of what we're looking at. So he's located in a place called Rabun Gap, Georgia, in the United States. And as you can see on the map, it's kind of a little bit in the middle of nowhere. It's like Black Rock Mountain State Park, so I imagine it's probably a lot of nature, a lot of mountains, etc. And so the first thing I'll do is, let me just do a search so that I can see where his listing shows up in the search results. Because if people can't find your place, then they also can't book it. So I'll just put in Rabun Gap, and I'm not going to put in a check-in and a checkout date, because then his listing might not show up in case he's blocked out any days in his calendar. So I'm going to leave it completely open. I'm not going to use any filters. I'm just going to search for his location and see where he shows up. So this is the search results, and voila, there he is. That's number 6. It's the third row. So he's got a really good position in the search results, which might be a little bit surprising, because if you look at the amount of rentals, there's 248 rentals, and he's number 6, even though he doesn't have any reviews yet, and he hasn't had any bookings yet. And you look at the other listings, you'll see that they all have reviews. There's a bunch of super hosts here, and so you might ask yourself, how is it possible that Jamie shows up on the first page? Well, that's because his listing is new. So what Airbnb does is they bump new listings to the top of the search results, because they will kind of want to help new hosts to get a little momentum. Because imagine if they wouldn't do that, it's really hard to get some traction if you're just starting out and you're competing against all these experienced hosts who have probably better listings, they have more reviews. And so, Airbnb really is trying to help new hosts gain some momentum by showing their listings on the first page of the search results. And so what you really want to do is you want to take advantage of this time window where Airbnb is helping you to make sure that you actually do get some bookings, because obviously Airbnb is a company that wants to make money. And so, right now Jamie's listing is this is like prime real estate, right? It's the first page of the search results. And so if people aren't going to book Jamie's place, then eventually Airbnb will drop his listing from this position, because they want to show listings to their users that users are looking for. And the way that they measure this is obviously by measuring how many inquiries and how many bookings that particular listing gets. And so when you're just starting out and Airbnb bumps your listing, you really want to make sure that your listing is very attractive. You might want to start off with some low prices, because you really want to get some bookings during this period, because those bookings will lead to reviews, and those reviews will lead to more bookings. So you want to get the ball rolling. So if I look at these listings, the prices seem around, like, let's say $100 to $200. So I think Jamie's listing is definitely priced quite attractively, but it could be even a little bit lower than that, because if you look at the other places, there's this one's like 111, Jamie's place is 114, this one's 120, 125, 111. So he's kind of like in the same range as these other listings. Now it could be that he's able to accommodate more people. So maybe if I search for 6 guests, then we'll get a different picture. Okay, so right now for 6 people, it's 174 for Jamie, and then there's still a couple listings that are even lower than him. So my first thought looking at this is I would probably lower the price. Now I know he's already lowered his price quite a bit, but the way you want to look at this is you want to see it as a long-term investment. Getting the first couple bookings in is very important. And so you might lose out on a little bit of cash if let's say he would offer his place for $97 or $99. That's probably what I would do, because if he puts his listing down to 99 or 97, now he's really going to stand out, because he's the only listing, except for this one here on the left, he's the only listing that has a price of below $100, and $100 is a psychological barrier, right? And so that would really make his listing stand out. All right, so let's look at the actual listing. Now, the first thing that people will look at is that first picture. And so what are we looking at here? We're looking at some trees. We're looking at I don't know exactly what this is, like a roof. I guess it's like a little picnic area or something. Yeah, I don't know, like, it's not a bad picture, but it doesn't really show the house. And so, if I'm looking at all these other pictures, like, I can clearly see the houses. So I would definitely recommend that Jamie changes his first picture to either something that's like the best feature of his apartment, of his cabin, because it's a cabin that he's renting out, or at least show the cabin so that people can see in the search results. They can immediately see, like, okay, what does this house look like? Where am I going to be staying? But let's take a look at these other pictures. So first thing I notice here as well is that he did write a good caption on this picture, which describes the experience, and now I understand what I'm looking at as well. It says, enjoy a picnic at the neighborhood pavilion with picnic tables and grill. Okay, so that's a good caption because it describes the experience that you can have in the picture. When I read that, enjoy a picture at this pavilion, like surrounded by these beautiful trees, etc., that's something that I want to do. So that's definitely something that catches my interest. So he's got a bunch of pictures of the surroundings, again with a caption. So that's good. The only thing is I've looked at 4 pictures and I still haven't seen his house. Now, this is a cool picture. You could even put this as the first picture in the winter. Okay, so now we're on picture 6, and this is the first time I see the house. Now, this is not... Okay, so I understand why he doesn't put this picture first, because it doesn't look very appealing. And that's probably what one of his questions referred to when he was saying, "Hey, what's a better way to represent the front of the cabin?" Because this doesn't look very appealing. So let's look at the other pictures. So there's the kitchen. There is a living room. That looks nice. It looks nice and comfy. I would definitely consider. I would definitely move these pictures forward a little bit. Maybe have this picture be picture number 2 or number 3 or something. I definitely think because what are the highlights of this listing? What's the best feature of this listing? I would definitely say it's its location and it's the natural environment that makes this listing attractive, right? And so I do think that you want to showcase that in the first picture. Ideally, you would have a really attractive looking picture of the cabin taken from kind of like far away so that you can also see some of the surroundings. It's also something that you can experiment with, right? You can put different pictures first and look at the amount of views that you get. Because that first picture really defines like how many click-throughs you get, how many people that see your listing in the search result actually click on the listing. It has to do with the first picture mostly. So the living room looks great, very cozy, dining area. So definitely this caption can be improved. Again, you really want to explain what kind of experience people can have, right? So you would say something like, we have a large dining table that fits 8 people, so it's perfect for big families who enjoy a family dinner. Maybe you could talk about like some local specialties that people could cook, and I don't know, just kind of like you can definitely do a bit better than just saying dining area, because that doesn't really spark any emotions. It doesn't make me want to book the place, basically. Okay, so this is the bathroom. This is a nice picture of the bedroom. Sleep in this room and hear the calming rush of water over the dam at the lake. So this caption is really good because when you read that, sleep in this room and hear the calming rush of water over the dam at the lake. That's something that you can visualize. That's something that you can imagine. What's cool about this listing? Like, why would people stay at this place? Well, it's a natural environment, right? It's about like getting a lot of rest. It's about like sleeping well. It's about like back to nature. And so, sleeping and hearing the calm rush of water over the dam at the lake, that's something that sounds very appealing. It's something that I would like to do. Yeah, I want to sleep in the bed and listen to that water rush over the dam and like kind of like put me asleep with the fresh air. That's that kind of stuff. All right, so we've seen one bedroom, play board games in this crazy cozy loft area. Okay, so this is another bedroom, 2 bunk beds. In this room sleeps 4. So this is something. Now it makes me think that this place is really ideal for big families. Because this is a perfect room to put 4 kids. So if you have, for example, 2 families of 4 people each, then this would be ideal. Or maybe one big family, like a family of 4 children. So that's something to keep in mind, because that might be a target audience that you could an audience that you could target. You could mention in your listing like ideal for families or something. You could say that in the title, or you could say that in the description. Nice picture of the lake. So he's got a lot of pictures of the surrounding area, which is great because look, here we actually have a much better picture of the cabin, a view of the cabin from across the lake. So if I were Jamie, I would retake this picture, because the picture isn't great, the resolution isn't great. You could definitely take a better picture, I think, but the composition of the pictures is good. This is much more attractive than that first picture that we were looking at. So I definitely would bump this picture to either the first position or maybe the second or the third position, because this is something that you want to show the viewer early on. Especially if you can improve the picture a bit by having it, be a larger picture, higher resolution, and maybe even a little bit further away, so that you can see a little bit more of the lake and the surroundings. That would be a good idea. So that was one of the questions that Jamie was asking, like how can I represent the cabin front better? Well, there you go. I mean, this is a great picture. All right, so a bunch of other pictures of the surrounding area. So he really focuses on showcasing the area versus his house. So I definitely think it's not a bad idea, because obviously the surrounding is the area is something that's attractive, but I think he's overdoing it a little bit. I would add a few more pictures of the house, and also rearrange the distribution a bit. I would say have a couple pictures. You really want to put your best pictures first, right? Because those are the pictures that people will see first. And so this is quite a nice picture. Okay, so this is also not a bad picture, because this also is something that like people enjoy doing. People love sitting outside on this veranda and enjoy a cup of tea or enjoy a drink and kind of look out over the lake or the trees. And so again, this caption could definitely be improved. You could say something like after a long day of hiking, the veranda offers the perfect opportunity to kind of relax, reflect on the day, enjoy a hot cup of tea, and listen to the birds who are sitting in the trees and singing their songs. I'm just making this up, but you get the idea. It's a lot better than top deck with rockers. I don't know what a rocker is, by the way. I guess it's a chair. That's also something you want to be aware of, that if you're getting a lot of guests from other countries, they might not understand, their level of English might not be perfect, right? So you always want to make sure you explain everything in simple, using simple words. You do want to make it sound attractive, so you want to use words like gorgeous, amazing, stuff like that. But you want to choose simple language over complicated language, basically, and don't use any like slang words. So here's a view of the lake. That's also cool. Again, you could describe this a little bit better. Like to fish at this mountain lake. Okay, that's good. All right, so I think we get the idea. He also has a couple pictures of his favorite restaurant. Maybe you could take a picture of your favorite meal and then say, instead of this picture, for example, it's an award-winning restaurant. So go have a meal there, take a picture of your favorite dish, and then say, when you stay at my place, you got to go to this restaurant and have this amazing dish. It's so good. Because that makes it easy for people to imagine what they can be doing. Try a local beer, and there's a drugstore. Awesome. So I've been talking a lot about the pictures, but they're important. So I think that's good. But let's go for the rest of the listing. So next thing I'll just suggest is, okay, so Jamie doesn't have instant book enabled. I would definitely recommend that he enables this option. It makes it easier for guests to book, and it also helps your position in search results. Now, right now, his position is very good, so it's probably not going to do much, but there's a good chance that at some point he'll drop out of that first page. And then you definitely want to optimize your listing to get the best ranking as possible. All right, so the next thing that I want to look at is the title. Title could definitely be improved a bit, because lakefront and convenient locale. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, lakefront is obviously his location is one of the best aspects of his listing, so it's good to mention the lake. Convenient locale is I'll probably replace that with something else. It just doesn't really spark my interest so much. Convenient locale. Like I'm not going to book a place because it has a convenient location. You know, I can see myself booking a place because it's at the lakefront. You know, that sounds attractive. Well, you definitely do a little better than that. But let's look at the about this listing part. So this is also quite an important part of your listing because obviously a lot of people are going to read this. A lot of people aren't going to go through your whole listing, but so that the pictures, the title, and the about this listing section is something that most people will definitely look at. So let's read this. Relax with your family and friends with gorgeous mountain views on the lake. Enjoy music festivals, antique shopping, fine dining, nature excursions. This new listing has a well-appointed interior and convenient location. So this sounds quite attractive. He's describing what you can do. Enjoy the music festivals, shopping, dining, excursions. Relax with your family and friends with gorgeous mountain views on the lake. So that sounds much more attractive than lakefront and convenient locale. So, as to start, I would just put this as your title. Gorgeous mountain views on the lake. I don't know if that fits because you only have 40 characters, but you'll find out when you try to put it in. It probably does fit. All right, let's scroll down and see what else we can find. These are the amenities. It's all pretty good. Cancellation policy moderate. I think that's fine. One thing I noticed is that he hasn't included the bed details. So Airbnb has there's a functionality in the back end of your listing where you can actually select, how many beds there are and what kind of beds, like whether they're queens, whether they're king, whether it's like a bunk bed. Now we've already seen in the pictures that he has like 4 singles, and I saw 1 big bed, but then it says there's 6 beds. So, I guess there's 1 bed missing in the pictures. Because he also says he has 3 bedrooms. So maybe I missed it. Maybe he did show a picture of the other bedroom, but if not, you definitely always want to have pictures of all the bedrooms, right? People want to know where they're sleeping. If people can see a picture of the beds, then people probably won't book, because sleeping well is something that is very important when you're on a trip. So you definitely want to showcase all the bedrooms, all the beds, and then you want to add the bed details as well. So another question Jamie asked was whether his description is too lengthy. Now, I don't think a description can be too lengthy. Well, I guess it could be, but I think more is better in this case. Because you want to provide as much information as possible. You never really know what sparks the interest of the guest, right? And so if people actually take the time to read everything, then they might find something that they like. All right, so let's take a quick look at what he's actually writing. A step back to simpler times. Ooh, I like that. Visiting Rabun Country, Georgia is like taking a step back in time when life was simpler and less technology focused, with minimal traffic noise and crowds and friendly, down-to-earth neighbors. That sounds really cool. So Jamie definitely knows how to write well. I think now that I'm reading this, he could probably do a little bit better on this upper part here. This last sentence, for example, the new listing has a well-appointed interior and convenient location. Yeah, it doesn't really tell me that much, but this is something that sounds very appealing. So I would suggest maybe take some of this and put that in the about this listing section. This treehouse-like cabin is nestled in historic Woolfork Valley and features gorgeous views of the mountains and a small lake with fish, mallards, no idea what that is, geese, and occasionally kingfishers. Guests can enjoy the lulling sound of waterfalls over the dam. At night, the rhythmic sound of frogs can be heard in the background. So this description is very, very good. It really describes the experience that you can have. It makes it easy to visualize, and it's something that sounds really attractive. I want to do that. I want to hear those frogs. I want to sit at the lake. I want to do all those things. Okay, so he also has an overview of the cabin, specifics. So this is really a very good description. This is probably one of the best descriptions I've seen, actually, because again, it's providing a lot of information, and it starts with, with a very lively, very descriptive description of what kind of experience can you have as a guest staying at Jamie's place. So really well done. I don't think it's too lengthy. I think you're providing a lot of details. You're doing a really good job. Local recommendations also good to add. So well done on the description. Let's take a quick look at the calendar. Okay, so he did block out some nights here, or maybe he got a reservation after he wrote the email. So he's pricing his unit at, I guess, $100 most of the time, but then sometimes in the weekends it's a little higher. He's probably doing this manually. I don't think he's using a price application or the Airbnb pricing tips. I would just make, instead of 100, I would just put like 97, because it's just a psychological thing, right? Where 97 just feels like a lot less than 100. It's a psychological barrier. So it's only $3 difference, but it might actually make a difference, a real difference. So he's pricing weekends higher than weekdays, which is probably a good idea, because I guess this could be a place where people want to spend the weekend for like a weekend trip. So you definitely want to price it a little higher. I imagine that the summer is probably more attractive than the winter. So July is pricing his unit higher. That makes sense, I guess. August, yeah. So as far as the pricing goes, I don't know how he's calculated this, or maybe he is using the Airbnb pricing tips, but I'd say it's okay. I would, so the next few days, like sort of like the 29th until the 11th. So these days, this is all like last minute, right? It's like in the next 2 weeks. I would definitely decrease these prices. For starters, I'd put it at 97. And then if you don't get any bookings, in the next few days, then I would just lower it to, I don't know, 79 or something. But then what you do want to do is you want to put in your description that the reason that you're charging these low prices is because it's a new listing. He mentions it here, but I would say something like, I would put something like discount in the about this listing section. I would put something like temporary discount, new listing, temporary discount 20% or something like that, just to let people know, hey, look, the prices are low because it's a new listing. Because the one problem that you can get with low pricing is that people might think, oh, there's probably something wrong with this place, because otherwise it wouldn't be so cheap. So you kind of want to call that out and take away that concern. All right, let's go down and see what else we have. So he doesn't have any reviews yet. We already knew that. One thing I noticed is he doesn't have a guidebook. So I would definitely recommend that Jamie adds a guidebook, put some local recommendations in there. All right, so the next thing we'll look at is his profile. Now, the profile is, the importance of the profile depends on the depends on the reputation that you have on Airbnb. So if you have, let's say, 20 plus 5-star reviews, then your profile is not as important, because people are going to assume that you're a good host if you have 25-star reviews. So they're not as concerned with your verifications, your references, and what you have on your profile, because they feel like they already trust you because of the reviews. Other guests are basically vouching for your place. So that's enough proof that you're a good host. But if you don't have any reviews yet, then people will look at your profile because people want to know who they're staying with. If you don't have any reviews, people are going to be worried. They're going to think, well, is this person a good host? Why has nobody stayed with him yet? Well, I mean, it is a new listing. People, probably understand that, but still, they feel a little bit uncomfortable, not being sure if it's going to be a good experience. And so, if you don't have any reviews, or if you have very few reviews, you definitely want to spend a good amount of time optimizing your profile. And what do I mean by optimizing your profile? First of all, the picture. Now, this is not a bad picture. It's a little blurry though. So I definitely recommend replacing this with a sharper picture that clearly shows your face. They're both laughing, so that's good. You always want to have a smile on your face in the picture because it looks friendly. Our brains are always wired to look for potential danger, right? And so Jamie's listing is kind of like in the middle of nowhere. He doesn't have any reviews. So I think a lot of people will be hesitant to book his place because, you're in the middle of nowhere. I mean, if you don't feel like who Jamie is, then, you're going to feel a little bit uncomfortable. So what can we do? All right, let's take a look at this profile content. So he writes a little bit about himself. Jamie and Chris enjoy. I've all this time I've been assuming that Jamie is the guy, but now I realize that it's the woman. So sorry about that. So Jamie and Chris enjoy their home in the North Georgia mountains. They love spending time there at nice restaurants, local sites, laid-back atmosphere. They're excited to host visitors to this area by staying in their home. Chris and Jamie are well-educated professionals who work in Atlanta. Chris enjoys gardening, fine wines, and fishing. Chris is a gourmet cook. Jamie loves photography and interior design. As a couple, they appreciate live theater, gourmet cooking, and entertaining friends and traveling. Okay, so this is a pretty good profile. I think you write a little bit more. You could write about why you started hosting on Airbnb. You could write about, maybe some of your favorite places. What do you love most about the area? Again, I think for your profile, more is better. You just don't know what's going to spike interest. You don't know what's going to catch the reader's eye. So I definitely recommend to write a little bit more here. Now let's look at the verifications. Email address, phone number, Google, and offline ID. So that's 4 of them. I think there's a few more verifications you could add. And I always recommend, especially for hosts who are starting out, more is better. The more trust you can build with your profile, the better. So I would add, I think there's LinkedIn and Facebook that you can add. So if you do have a Facebook and LinkedIn account, I would definitely recommend adding those to the verifications. But more importantly, you definitely want to get some references. Because if you don't have reviews, references are sort of like the next best thing, right? You can simply request them in your dashboard. You can either request them through emails or you can request them through Facebook if you connect your Facebook account. So I would recommend get maybe like 4 or 5 references. Just ask friends, family to write you a reference. It doesn't give you as much credibility as a review, but it still helps. It still looks better than having no references. All right, so I think that's about it. I think I've been talking for a while, 35 minutes. So anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this video. There's hopefully there's a few lessons to be learned and apply to your own listing. And so if you want me to take a look at your listing, then feel free to send me an email. Also, I want to mention that, of course, I have Jamie's permission to broadcast this, to publish this. And so if you feel comfortable with having your listing reviewed and your listing showing up on my YouTube channel, and I usually also send out an email to my list when I publish something new. So if you don't mind me publishing it, then I'm more than happy to look at your listing. I do get a lot of emails though, so I can't guarantee that I'm gonna review it very soon, but I'll just do it on a first come first serve base. So right now I have one other one that I'm gonna do. So I guess I'll probably do like once a week. And so it depends a bit on the reactions that I get. So if you're watching this and if you like this, then please reach out to me or comment on the video below, and then just let me know if you like the video, and maybe you have some suggestions or some feedback. This is the first time that I do this. And obviously the reason I'm doing this is because I'm hoping that it's helpful for people. So really love to hear your feedback, and I'll be posting another one of these next week. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you around.